Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् लसद्भियोलुकलाधवमानं परमृष्टमत्यन्ततो धृत्यगोप्या रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रयुग्ममृजन्तं कराम्भोजयुग्मेन सातङ्कनेत्रम् मुहुश्वासकम्पात्रिरेखाङ्ककण्ठ स्थितग्रैवं दामोदरं भक्तिबद्धम् इति दृक्ष्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तम् आख्यापयन्तम् तदेशितग्नेषु भक्तजितत्वं पुनः प्रेमतस्त्वं सतावृत्ति वन्दे वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षं वदिं वा न शन्यं वृणेऽहं वरेशदपिह इदं ते वपुर्नाथ गोपालबालं सदा मे मनस्य वीरास्तं किमन्ये इदं ते मुखाम्बोजम् अत्यन्तनीलैर्वृतं कुन्तलैः स्निग्धरक्तैश्च गोप्या मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरक्ताधरं मे मनस्या विरास्तं अलं लक्षलाभै नमो देवदामोदर अनन्तविष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखजालब्धिमग्नम् कृपादृष्टिवृष्ट्यातिदिनं बतानु गृहाणेश मामज्ञं यद्यक्षिदृश्या विरात्मजो बद्धमूर्त्यैव यद्वत् त्वया मोचितौ भक्तिभाजो कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकामे प्रयच्छ नमो शीघ्रहो मेस्ति दामोदरेह नमस्ते स्तु धाम्ने स्फुरादीप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायाथ विश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमो राधिकाय त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् यशोदाभियो इष्टमत्यन्ततो धृत्यगोप्या Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर श्री राधे जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 श्रील प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल श्री श्री दामोदराष्टकम की श्री श्री राधा दामोदर की
Jayong Shnupada Pramhamsa Prateka Acharya Ashtota Shata Shishmatis Divine Grace Aparachana Vrinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Bhaktivedanta Institute Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayong Shnupada Pramhamsa Prateka Acharya Ashtota Shata Shishmatis Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavanda Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridasa Ku Ki Jai. Premise Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrajabhumi Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Purushottama Chaitra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Shri Ayodhya Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Samarita Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Damodara Masa Kartika Masa Ki Jai. Shri Yashoda Damodara Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Damodara Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glory to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Pralada Lada Layine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha Shilatankanakalaye Ito Narsimho Parato Narsimho Yato yato yami tato narsimho Bahi narsimho Hridaye narsimho Narsimha Madhim Sharanam Prapadye Tava Kaira Kamalavade Naka Adbhuta Shingam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Tavakara Jayo Narsimhadev, Jayo Narsimhadev, Jayo Narsimhadev, Jayo Narsimhadev. Jayo Prahlad Maharaj, Jayo Prahlad Maharaj, Jayo Prahlad Maharaj, Jayo Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Goira Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Goira Hari Bol.
Let's recite the translation together. To the Supreme Lord, whose form embodies eternal knowledge and bliss, whose earrings swing to and fro, who shines beautifully in Gokula, who quickly ran from the grinding mortar in fear Mother Yashoda, and who was caught from behind by her, who ran faster than he. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, I offer my humble obeisances. Upon seeing his mother's whipping stick, he cried and rubbed his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes were fearful, and his quick breathing shook the stranded pearls on his neck, which bore 3 lines like those on a conch shell. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, whose belly is bound with the ropes his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances. With these super excellent childhood pastimes, Lord Krishna drowned the residents of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. In this way, he declared to those absorbed in knowledge of his majesty and opulence, I am conquered only by my pure loving devotees. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodar hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, though you can award all kinds of benedictions, I pray to you neither for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor for the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor for any other such boon. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Bala Gopala in Vrindavan may ever be manifest in my heart, for what use do I have for any other boon besides this? O Lord, again and again Mother Yashoda kisses her lotus face, which is framed by locks of soft black hair tinged with red and beautified by lips colored red like the bimba fruit. May this vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands of other benedictions of no use to me. O Supreme Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you. O Damodar, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O Lord, be pleased upon me. Shower me with your merciful glances and deliver this poor ignorant fool immersed in an ocean worthy sorrows and become visible to my eyes. O Lord Damodar, as the baby tied to a grinding mortar, you deliver Kuru's 2 sons from the curse of Narada and made them into great devotees. In the same way, please give me pure loving devotion for you. I long for this alone and have no desire for any kind of liberation. O Lord Damodar, obeisances unto the brilliantly fortunate robe binding your belly. Obeisances unto your belly, the abode of the entire universe. Obeisances unto your dear most beloved, Srimati Radharani, and obeisances unto you, O Lord, who displays unlimited pastime. Shri Radha Damodar ki jai. Vrindaya Tulasi Devaya Priyaya Keshava Sacha Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavataya Namo Namaha. Vrindaya Tulasi Devaya Priyaya Keshava Sacha Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavataya Namo Namaha. Vrindaya Tulasi Devaya Priyaya Keshava Sacha Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavataya Namo Namaha. Vrinda Devi Tulasi Maharani ki jai.
Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Priyasi Namo Namaha Raj Radha Krishna Seva Pavo E Avilashi Radha Krishna Seva Pavo Avilashi વાંછા પૂર્ણ હોય. કૃપા કોરી કોરો તારે વૃંદાવનવાસી. વિલાસ કુંજ દિયો વાસ. વિલાસ કુંજ દિયો વાસ. નાયાને હેરી બો સાદા જુગલ રૂપરાસી. નિવેદન ધરો સખી અનુગત કરો. સેવાધિકારો દિએ કરો નિજ દાસી. દીન કૃષ્ણ દાસે કોઈ જેન મોરા હોય. શ્રી રાધા ગોવિંદ પ્રેમે સદાય નબાસી. શ્રી રાધા ગોવિંદ પ્રેમે સદાય નબાસી. શ્રી यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि तानि तानि प्राणशन्ति प्रदक्षिणपदे पदे. यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्राणशन्ति प्रदक्षिणपदे पदे. यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपदे पदे. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna. Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinde Devi, Jaya Vrinde Devi, Jaya Vrinde Devi, Jaya Vrinde Devi. Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani. Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Vrindaye Tulsi Devyaya Priyaya Keshavasya cha Vishnu Bhakti Pada Devi Satyavatyaya Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tulsi Devyaya Priyaya Keshavasya cha Vishnu Bhakti Pada Devi Satyavatyaya Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tulsi Devyaya Priyaya Keshavasya cha Vishnu Bhakti Pada Devi Satyavatyaya Namo Namaha.
Also, you grant me residence in the precious groves of Shri Vrindavan Dham. Thus, within my vision, I shall always behold the beautiful paths of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me follow a Kara dance of the Virgin. Please give me the privileged devotional service and make me my own maid servant. This very fallen lowly servant of Krishna prays. May I always swim the love Shri Shri Radha and Govinda. Srimati Tulsi Maharani ki jai. There are 10 fences in the matter of chanting holy names that should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees who dedicate their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider the name of the demigods Lord Shiva or Brahma to be equal and independent name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the order of spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature pursuant to Vedic version. 5. To consider the glory of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation of the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities and strengths of chanting the holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna one of our special ritualistic activities, offering the Vedas fruity activities, karma, ganda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about glory of the holy name. 10. To not complete faith in chanting holy names, and to maintain mature attachments in understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our most humble obeisance unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just as trees who can fulfill to everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. One Shri Chaitanya Shiksha Astakam ki jai. Ceto Tarpana Marjanam Pavamahadavakni Nirvapanam Shriya Kairava Chantrika Vitaranam Vidyavatu Jivanam Anandam Pudivardhanam Pratipatam Purunamita Swatanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha Etatishi Tavakripa Bhagavam Mamapi Durudevami Tisham Iha Janina Nurakaha Trinatapi Sunijena Tarorapi Saishnuna Amanina Manatena Kirtaniya Sata Harihi Na Thanam Na Janam Na Sundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Jammani Jammanishware Bhavata Bhaktir Haituki Tavayi Ayinanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mang Vishame Pavam Puto Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sthita Duri Satesham Vichintaya Nayanam Kalatashuru Taraya Vadanam Katkada Rudaya Gira Pulakai Nichitam Vapur Kada Tavanama Krahane Pavishati Yuga itam nimishena chakshusha pravisha itam shunya itam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me ashirishava padratam pinnashtumam adarshanam marmhatam karotuva yatha tatha va vitatatu lampato mad prana natha susaeva na paraha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the deaths accumulated for years and extinguishes fire of conditional life or repeated births and deaths. This Sankirtan movement is prime benediction of humanity at large because it spreads the rays of benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enable us to fully taste the nectar for which always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone grant all benediction human beings, thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have vested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, our kindness enables us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I'm so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. One should chant holy name, the Lord, in humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more taller than a tree, devote all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Sanhamarnanda Krishna, I am an eternal servitor, yet somehow I fall in the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the items at lotus feet. O my Lord, want my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name. Want my voice choke up or hurt my body stand and recitation of your name. O Govinda, feeling of separation and constant moment to be like a great millennium. Tears are flowing from eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything, everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Shri Mangala Charna prayers ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshum Litam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragnadam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vidamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine นิวิเชชชุญญวาดีปาชาตเตชตาริเนนามาองค์วิชณุปาดายะคริชนพฤษฐายพุตเตश्री मते भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ति नामिने श्री वर्षपानवि देवी दयिताय कृपप्तये कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान दायिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्जल प्रेमाद्य श्रीरूपानुग भक्तित श्री गौर करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्री मूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुग विरुदाप सिद्धांत द्वंद्वहारिणे नमो गौर किशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बरसम्बोधे पादं पूजयते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवरायते गौराविर्भावभूमिस्त्वं निर्दिष्टा सज्जनप्रियः वैष्णवसार्वभौमा श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमपदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिशे नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते जयतां श्रोतोर्भङ्गो मम मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदाम्भोजो राधा मदनमोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकौपदुमदः श्रीमद्रानागार सिंहासनस्थो श्रीमद्राधा शिलगोविन्ददेवो पृष्ठारिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमान् रासरसरम्भि वंशीवत ततः स्थितः कर्षं वेणुसुनेर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथ श्रेयस्तु नः तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि विषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत दातार श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री मंगलाचरण प्रेयस की जय। श्री परम संहिता की जय। ईश्वर परम कृष्ण सच्चिदानंद विग्रह अनादिराद्य गोविंद सर्वकारण कारणम चिंतामणि परखर सत्मसुखोपवीक्ष लक्षावृतेषु सुरभिरभिपालयन्तं लक्ष्मी सहस्रशतसम्भ्रमसेव्यमानं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि वेणुं कमनन्तमरविन्ददलायताक्षं बार्हर्वतं समासितां पुतसुन्दरङ्गं गन्धर्वकोटिकमनीयविशेषशोभं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि आलोलचन्तकलसवनमार्यवंशि रानङ्गदं फनयकेलिकलाविलासं श्यामं त्रिपङ्कललितं यतप्रकाशं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि अङ्गानि यस्य सकलेन्द्रियवृत्तिमन्ति पश्यन्ति पान्ति कलयन्ति चिरं जगन्ति आनन्दचिन्मयसचुचुलविग्रहस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि अद्वैतम् अचोतम् अनादिमनन्तरूपम् आद्यं पुराणपुरुषं नवयौवनं च वेदेषु दुर्लभमदुर्लभम् आत्मभक्तो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि पन्थास्तु कोटिशतवत्सरसम्प्रगाम्यो वायुरथापि मनसो मुनिपङ्गवानं सोऽपि अस्ति यप्पपदसिम्य विचिन्त्य तत्त्वे गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि एकोऽप्यसौ रचयितुं जगदन्तकोटिं या शक्तिरस्ति जगदन्तजयायतन्तः अन्तन्तरस्थपरमाणुचयन्तरस्थं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यद्भावभावितधियो मनुजास्तथैव सम्प्राप्य रूपमहिमासनयानपूषः सुक्तर्यमेव निगमपतितास्तुवन्ति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि Ananta Chimmerasa Patibhavitabis Tapia Evan Jarupataya Kalapihi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhutto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Premanjana Churutha Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sateva Hitayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundam Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Ramati Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan Nanavataram Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhava Paramapumamyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the Supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin and is the cause of all causes.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, yielding all desire in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with the figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful three-bending form of Shyamasundara is eternally manifest.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas but obtainable by pure unallied devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning, and the eternal Purusha, yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis, who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane, extending over thousands of millions of years.
He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord, whom I adore.
I adore the same.
I adore the same Govinda, the primeval Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra suktas told by the Vedas by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confident Sakhis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shyam Sundar, Krishna himself with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion, tinged with the salve of love.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the form of Rama, Narsimha, Vamana, etc. as his subjective portions.
Sri Brahma Samhita ki jai. Bhagavad Gita 7.1 Purport. Srinvatam swakata Krishnas punyas ravana kirtanaha hridayanta histo hi abhadrani vidunoti suhritsatam नष्टप्रयेष्व अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैस्तिकी तदा राजस्तमो भावा कामा लोभादयाश्च ये चेत एतैरनावीतं स्थितं सत्त्वे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्नमनसो भगवद्भक्तियोगतः भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते विद्यते हृदयग्रन्थिश्छिद्यन्ते सर्वसमस्याः क्षीयन्ते च कर्माणि दृष्टा एव आत्मनीश्वरे.
To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him.
In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge as he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees. He becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord.
By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the signs of God perfectly.
Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the heart knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of Asamsayam Samagram, understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the signs of Krishna. Hare Krishna. We'll continue reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 8. Dharma svanustitha pumsam vishwakshena katau suya notpadayed yadiratim srama eva hi kevalam. Dharma, occupation, svanustitha, executed in terms of one's own position, pumsham, of mankind, Vishwakshena, the personality of Godhead, plenary portion, Katashu, in the message of Ya, what is, Na, not, Utpadayet, does produce, Yadi, if, Ratim, attraction, Shrama, useless labor, Eva, only, he, certainly, Kevalam, entirely. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There are different occupational activities in terms of man's different conceptions of life. To the gross materialist who cannot see anything beyond the gross material body, there is nothing beyond the senses. Therefore, his occupational activities are limited to concentrated and extended selfishness. Concentrated selfishness centers around the personal body. This is generally seen amongst the lower animals. Extended selfishness is manifested in human society and centers around the families, society, community, nation, and world with a view to gross bodily comfort. Above these gross materialists are the mental speculators who hover aloft in the mental spheres, and their occupational duties involve making poetry and philosophy or propagating some ism with the same aim of selfishness, limited to the body and the mind. But above the body and mind is the dormant spirit soul, whose absence from the body makes the whole range of bodily and mental selfishness completely null and void. But less intelligent people have no information of the needs of the spirit soul. Because foolish people have no information of the soul and how it is beyond the purview of the body and mind, they are not satisfied in the performance of their occupational duties. The question of the satisfaction of the self is raised herein. The self is beyond the gross body and subtle mind. He is the potent active principle of the body and mind. Without knowing the need of the dormant soul, one cannot be happy simply with emolument of the body and mind. The body and the mind are but superfluous outer coverings of the spirit soul. The spirit soul's needs must be fulfilled. Simply by cleansing the cage of the body, one does not satisfy the bird. One must actually know the needs of the bird himself. The need of the spirit soul is that he wants to get out of the limited sphere of material bondage and fulfill his desire for complete freedom. He wants to get out of the covered walls of the greater universe. He wants to see the free light and the spirit. That complete freedom is achieved when he meets the complete spirit, the personality of Godhead. There is a dormant affection for God within everyone. Spiritual existence is manifested through the gross body and mind in the form of perverted affection for gross and subtle matter. Therefore, we have to engage ourselves in occupational engagements that will evoke our divine consciousness. This is possible only by hearing and chanting the divine activities of the Supreme Lord. And any occupational activity which does not help one to achieve attachment for hearing and chanting the transcendental message of Godhead is said herein to be simply a waste of time. This is because other occupational duties, whatever ism they may belong to, cannot give liberation to the soul. Even the activities of the salvationists are considered to be useless because of their failure to pick up the fountainhead of all liberties. The gross materialist can practically see that his material gain is limited only to time and space, either in this world or in the other. Even if he goes up to the Swargaloka, he will find no permanent abode for his hankering soul. The hankering soul must be satisfied with the perfect scientific process of perfect devotional service.
Text 9. धर्मस्य हवा पवर्गस्य नार्थोर्योपकल्पते नार्थस्य धर्मे कान्तस्य कामो लभाय हि स्मृतः. Dharmasya, occupational engagement, he, certainly. Apavargasya, ultimate liberation. Na, not. Artha, end. Arthaya, or for material gain. Upakalpate, is meant for. Na, neither. Arthasya, of material gain. Dharma eka antasya, for one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service. Kama, sense gratification. Labhaya, attainment of. He, exactly. Smrita is described by the great sages. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We have already discussed that pure devotional service to the Lord is automatically followed by perfect knowledge and detachment from material existence. But there are others who consider that all kinds of different occupational engagements, including those of religion, are meant for material gain. The general tendency of any ordinary man in any part of the world is to gain some material profit in exchange for religious or any other occupational service. Even in the Vedic literatures, for all sorts of religious performances, an allurement of material gain is offered, and most people are attracted by such allurements or blessings of religiosity. Why are such so-called men of religion allured by material gain? Because material gain can enable one to fulfill desires, which in turn satisfy sense gratification. This cycle of occupational engagements includes so-called religiosity followed by material gain and material gain followed by fulfillment of desires. Sense gratification is the general way for all sorts of fully occupied men, but in the statement of Suta Goswami as per the verdict of the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is nullified by the present sloka. One should not engage himself in any sort of occupational service for material gain only, nor should material gain be utilized for sense gratification. How material gain should be utilized is described as follows. The next text.
कामश्च नेन्द्रियप्रीतिलाभो जीवित यावता जीवस्य तत्त्वजिज्ञासा नार्थो यशेषः कर्मभिः कामस्य of desires na not indriya senses pritihi satisfaction labha gain jivat jiveta self preservation yavata so much so jivyasya of the living being tattva the absolute truth Ji- jignasha inquiries jigyasa inquiries na not artha and yah cha yah whatsoever else karma bhi by occupational activities translation by divine grace ऐसे शीला प्रभुपाद की जय Life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's works. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The completely bewildered material civilization is wrongly directed towards the fulfillment of desires in sense gratification. In such civilization, in all spheres of life, the ultimate end is sense gratification. In politics, social service, altruism, philanthropy, and ultimately in religion or even in salvation, the a very same tint of sense gratification is ever increasingly predominant. In the political field, the leaders of men fight with one another to fulfill their personal sense gratification. The voters adore the so called leaders only when they promise sense gratification. As soon as the voters are dissatisfied in their own sense satisfaction, they dethrone the leaders. The leaders must always disappoint the voters by not satisfying their senses. The same is applicable in all other fields. No one is serious about the problems of life. Even those who are on the path of salvation desire to become one with the absolute truth and desire to commit spiritual suicide for sense gratification. But the Bhagavatam says that one should not live for sense gratification. One should satisfy the senses only in so much so required for self preservation and not for sense gratification, because the body is made of senses which also require a certain amount of satisfaction. There are regulative directions for satisfaction of such senses, but the senses are not meant for unrestricted enjoyment. For example, marriage or the combination of a man with a woman is necessary for progeny, but it is not meant for sense enjoyment. In the absence of voluntary restraint, there is propaganda for family planning. But foolish men do not know that family planning is automatically executed as soon as there is search after the absolute truth. Seekers of the absolute truth are never allured by unnecessary engagements in sense gratification, because the serious students seeking the absolute truth are always overwhelmed with the work of researching the truth. In every sphere of life, therefore, the ultimate end must be seeking after the absolute truth, and that sort of engagement will make one happy because he will be less engaged in varieties of sense gratification. And what that absolute truth is explained as follows.
Text 11. Vadanti tat tattva viddas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabdyate. Vadanti, they say, tat, that, tattva vidda, the learned souls, tattvam, the absolute truth, yet, which, jnanam, knowledge, advayam, non-dual, brahma iti, known as Brahman, paramatma iti, known as Paramatma, bhagavan iti, known as Bhagavan, sabdyate. It's so sounded. Translation. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. Purport. The absolute truth is both subject and object. There is no qualitative difference there. Therefore, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are qualitatively one and the same. The same substance is realized as impersonal Brahman by the students of the Upanishads, as localized Paramatmas by the Hiranaya Garbhas or the yogis, and as Bhagavan by the devotees. In other words, Bhagavan, or the personality of Godhead, is the last word of absolute truth. Paramatma is the partial representation of the personality of Godhead, and impersonal Brahman is the glowing effulgence of the personality of Godhead, as the sun rays are to the sun god. Less intelligent students of either of the above schools sometimes argue in favor of their own respective realization, but those who are perfect seers of the absolute truth know well that the above three features of that one absolute truth are different perspective views seen from different angles of vision. As it is explained in the first sloka of the first chapter of the Bhagavatam, the supreme truth is self-sufficient, cognizant, and free from illusion of relativity. In the relative world, the knower is different from the known, but in the absolute truth, both the knower and the known are the same and are one and the same thing. In the relative world, the knower is the living spirit or superior energy, whereas the known is inert matter or inferior energy. Therefore, there is a duality of inferior and superior energy, whereas in the absolute realm, both the knower and the known are of the same superior energy. There are three kinds of energies of the supreme energetic. There is no difference between the energy and the energetic, but there is a difference of quality of energies. The absolute realm and the living entities are of the same superior energy, but the material world is inferior energy. The living being in contact with the inferior energy is illusion, thinking he belongs to the inferior energy. Therefore, there is a sense of relativity in the material world. In the absolute truth, there is no such sense of difference between the knower and the known, and therefore everything there is absolute.
Text 12, Canto 1, Chapter 2. Tat Shraddha Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyanti Atmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. Tat, that Shraddhadana, seriously inquisitive, Munaya, sages, Jnana, knowledge, Vairagya, detachment, Yuktaya, well equipped with, Pashyanti, see, Atmani, within himself, Cha, and Atmanam, the Paramatma, Bhaktya, in devotional service, Shruta, the Vedas, Grihitaya, well received. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Sutra, Vedanta Shruti. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The absolute truth is realized in full by the process of devotional service to the Lord, Vasudeva, or the personality of Godhead, who is the full-fledged absolute truth. Brahman is his transcendental bodily effulgence, and Paramatma is his partial representation. As such, Brahman or Paramatma realization of the absolute truth is but a partial realization. There are four different types of human beings: the karmis, the jnanis, the yogis, and the devotees. The karmis are materialistic, whereas the other three are transcendental. The first class transcendentalists are the devotees who have realized the Supreme Person. The second class transcendentalists are those who have partially realized the plenary portion of the Absolute Person. And the third class transcendentalists are those who have barely realized the spiritual focus of the Absolute Person, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures. The Supreme Person is realized by devotional service, who is backed by full knowledge and detachment from material association. We have already discussed the point that the devotional service is followed by knowledge and detachment from material association, as Brahman and Paramatma realization are imperfect realizations of the absolute truth. So the means of realizing Brahman and Paramatma, that is, The paths of Gnana and Yoga are also imperfect means of realizing the absolute truth. Devotional service, which is based on the foreground of full knowledge combined with detachment from material association, and which is fixed by the oral reception of the Vedanta Shruti, is the only perfect method by which the seriously inquisitive student can realize the absolute truth. Devotional service is not, therefore, meant for the less intelligent class of transcendentalists. There are three classes of devotees, namely, first, second, and third class. The third class devotees are the neophytes who have no knowledge and are not detached from the material association, but who are simply attracted by the preliminary process of worshipping the deity in the temple, are called material devotees. Material devotees are more attached to material benefit than transcendental profit. Therefore, one has to make definite progress from the position of material devotional service to the second class devotional position. In the second class position, the devotee can see four principles in the devotional line, namely the personality of Godhead, his devotees, the ignorant, and the envious. One has to raise himself at least to the stage of a second class devotee and this become eligible to know the absolute truth. A third class devotee, therefore, has to receive the instructions of devotional service from the authoritative sources of Bhagavata. The number one Bhagavata is the established personality of devotee, and the other Bhagavatam is the message of Godhead. The third class devotee, therefore, has to go to the personality of devotee in order to learn the instructions of devotional service. Such a personality of devotee is not a professional man who earns his livelihood by the business of Bhagavatam. Such a devotee must be a representative of Sukadeva Goswami, like Suta Goswami, and must preach the cult of devotional service for the all-round benefit of all people. A neophyte devotee has very little taste for hearing from the authorities. Such a neophyte devotee makes a show of hearing from the professional man to satisfy his senses. This sort of hearing and chanting has spoiled the whole thing. So one should be very careful about the faulty process. The holy messages of Godhead as inculcated in the Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam are undoubtedly transcendental subjects. But even though they are so, such transcendental matters are not to be received from the professional man, who spoils them as a serpent spoils milk simply by the touch of his tongue. A sincere devotee must, therefore, be prepared to hear the Vedic literature like the Upanishads, Vedanta, and other literatures left by the previous authorities or Goswamis for the benefit of his progress. Without hearing such literatures, one cannot make actual progress. And without hearing and following the instructions, the show of devotional service becomes worthless, and therefore a sort of disturbance in the path of devotional service. Unless, therefore, devotional service is established on the principles of Shruti, Smriti, Purana, or Pancharatra authorities, the make show of devotional service should at once be rejected. An unauthorized devotee should never be recognized as a pure devotee. By assimilation of such messages from the Vedic literatures, one can see the all pervading localized aspect of the personality of Godhead within his own self constantly. This is called Samadhi.
I'm just looking at this part of the verse on this side. Ata punbir dvija shreshta varnashrama vibhagasha svanustitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam.
Atha, so, Pumbi, by the human being, Dvijashrestha, O best among the twice born, Varnashrama, the institution of four castes and four orders of life. Vibhagasa, by the division of Swanustitasya, of one's own prescribed duties. Dharmasya, occupational. Samsiddhi, the highest perfection. Hari, the personality of Godhead. Toshanam, pleasing.
Translation. O best among the twice born. It is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to the caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. Purport. Human society all over the world is divided into four castes and four orders of life. The four castes are the intelligent caste, the material caste, the productive caste, and the laborer caste. These castes are classified in terms of one's work and qualification and not by birth. Then again, there are four orders of life, namely the student life, the householder's life, and the retired and devotional life. In the best interest of human society, there must be such divisions of life. Otherwise, no social institution can grow in a healthy state. And in each and every one of the above-mentioned divisions of life, the aim must be to please the supreme authority of the personality of Godhead. This institutional function of human society is known as the system of Varnashrama Dharma, which is quite natural for the civilized life. The Varnashrama institution is constructed to enable one to realize the absolute truth. It is not for artificial domination of one division over another. When the aim of life, i.e., realization of the absolute truth, is missed by too much attachment for indriya priti, or sense gratification, as already discussed herein before, the institution of the Varnashrama is utilized by selfish men to pose an artificial predominance over the weaker section. In the Kali Yuga, or in the age of quarrel, this artificial predominance is already current. But the saner section of the people knew it well that the divisions of caste and order of life were meant for smooth social intercourses and high thinking self-realization, and not for any other purpose.
Quoting someone. Herein the statement of Bhagavatam is that the highest aim of life, or the highest perfection of the institution of the Varnashrama Dharma, is to cooperate jointly for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 4.13.
Tasmadek, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 14. Tasmadek ekana manasa Bhagavan sattva tampatihi srotavyah kritatavyascha dhyeye pujaschа nityada. Tasmad thereof ekena by one Therefore, Ekena by one manasa attention of the mind, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Sattva tam of the devotees, Patihi, protector, Srotavyaha is to be heard, Kriti Tavyaha to be glorified, Cha and Yeyaha to be remembered, Pujyaha to be worshipped, Cha and Nityada constantly. Translation. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. Purport. If the realization of the absolute truth is the ultimate aim of life, it must be carried out by all means. In any one of the above mentioned castes and orders of life, the four processes, namely glorifying, hearing, remembering, and worshipping, are general occupations. Without these principles of life, no one can exist. Activities of the living being involve engagements in these four different principles of life, especially in modern society. All activities are more or less dependent on hearing and glorifying. Any man from any social status becomes a well-known man in human society within a very short time if he is simply glorified truly or falsely in the daily newspapers. Sometimes political leaders of a particular party are also advertised by newspaper propaganda, and by such a method of glorification, an insignificant man becomes an important man within no time. But such propaganda by false glorification of, of an unqualified person cannot bring about any good, and either for the particular man or for the society. There may be some temporary reactions to such propaganda, but there are no permanent effects. Therefore, such activities are a waste of time. The actual object of glorification is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has created everything manifested before us. We have broadly discussed this fact from the beginning of the Janma Dasya Sloka of this Bhagavatam. The tendency to glorify others or hear others must be turned to the real object of glorification, the Supreme Being, and that will bring happiness.
Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.15 Yad anudyasina yukta karma granti nibandhanam chindanti kovidasasya kona kuryat katarathim. Synonyms. Yat, which, anudhya, remembrance, ashina, sword, yukta, being equipped with, karma, reactionary work, granti, knot, nibaddhanam, internet, chindanti, cut, kovida, intelligent, tasya, his, kha, who, na, not, kuryat, shall do, katha, messages, ratim, attention. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The contact of the spiritual spark with material elements creates a knot which must be cut if one wants to be liberated from the actions and reactions of the fruitive work. Liberation means freedom from the cycle of reactionary work. This liberation automatically follows for one who constantly remembers the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead. This is because all the activities of the Supreme Lord, His Leela, are transcendental to the modes of the material energy. They are all attractive spiritual activities, and therefore constant association with the spiritual activities of the Supreme Lord gradually spiritualizes the conditioned soul and ultimately severs the knot of material bondage. Liberation from material bondage is therefore a byproduct of devotional service. Attainment of supreme spiritual knowledge is not sufficient to ensure liberation. Such knowledge must be overcoated with devotional service too, that ultimately the devotional service alone predominates. Then liberation is made possible. Even the reactionary work of the fruitive workers can lead one to liberation when it is overcoated with devotional service. Karma overcoated with devotional service is called karma yoga. Similarly, empirical knowledge overcoated with devotional service is called jnana yoga. But pure bhakti yoga is independent of such karma and jnana because it alone can not only endow one with liberation from conditioned life but also award one the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Therefore, any sensible man who is above the average man with a poor fund of knowledge must constantly remember the personality of Godhead by hearing about him, by glorifying him, by remembering him, and by worshipping him always without cessation. That is the perfect way of devotional service. The Goswamis of Vrindavana, who were authorized by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to preach the Bhakti cult, rigidly followed this rule and made immense literatures of transcendental science for our benefit. They had chalked out ways for all class of men in terms of the different castes and orders of life in pursuance of the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam and similar other authoritative scriptures.
Text 16. शुश्रूषोः श्रद्धानस्य वासुदेव कथारुचि स्यान्महत्सेवया विप्रा पुण्यतीर्थनिश्रेण वात. Synonyms. Sususro, one who is engaged in hearing. Shraddha dhanasya, with care and attention. Vasudeva, in respect to Vasudeva. Katha, the message. Ruchi, affinity. Syat, is made possible. Mahasevaya, by service rendering to pure devotees. Vipra, or twice born. Punya Tirth, those who are cleansed of all vice. Nisevanant, by service. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The conditioned life of a living being is caused by his revolting against the Lord. There are men called devas or godly living beings, and there are men called asuras or demons who are against the authority of the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, a vivid description of the asuras is given, in which it is said that the asuras are put into lower and lower state of ignorance life after life, and so sink to the lower animal forms and have no information of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. These asuras are gradually rectified to God consciousness by the mercy of the Lord's liberated servitors in different countries according to the supreme will. Such devotees of God are very confidential associates of the Lord, and when they come to save human society from the dangers of godlessness, they are known as the powerful incarnations of the Lord, as sons of the Lord, as servants of the Lord, or as associates of the Lord. But none of them falsely claim to be God themselves. This is a blasphemy declared by the Asuras, and the demoniac followers of such Asuras also accept pretenders as God or His incarnation. In the revealed scriptures, there is definite information of the incarnation of God. No one should be accepted as God or an incarnation of God unless he is confirmed by the revealed scriptures. The servants of God are to be respected as God by the devotees who actually want to go back to Godhead. Such servants of God are called Mahatmas or Tirthas, and they preach according to particular time and place. The servant of God urge people to become devotees of the Lord. They never tolerate being called God. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was God himself according to the indication of the revealed scriptures, but he played the part of a devotee. People who knew him to be God addressed him as God, but he used to block his ears with his hands and chant the name of Lord Vishnu. He strongly protested against being called God. although undoubtedly he was God himself. The Lord behaves so to warn us against unscrupulous men who take pleasure in being addressed as God. The servants of God come to propagate God consciousness, and intelligent people should cooperate with them in every respect. By serving the servants of God, one can please God more than by directly serving the Lord. The Lord is more pleased when he sees that his servants are properly respected, because such servants risk everything for the service of the Lord and so are very dear to the Lord. The Lord declares in the Bhagavad Gita 18.69 that no one is dearer to him than one who risks everything to preach his glory. By serving the servants of the Lord, one gradually gets the quality of such servants, and thus one becomes qualified to hear the glories of God. The, the eagerness to the eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of a devotee eligible for entering the kingdom of God.
शनवतं स्वकथा कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवकीर्तनः हृदयन्तस्थो हद्भक्तानि विधुनोति शुहस्तामम्. Synonyms. Shanavatam, those who have developed the urge to hear the message of Swakatha, his own words, Krishna, the personality of Godhead, Punya, virtues, Sarvana, hearing, Kirtana, chanting, Hardi Antahastha, within one's heart, he certainly, Abhardrani, desire to enjoy matter, Vidunoti, cleanses, Shruta, benefactor, Satam of the truthful. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Messages of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna are non-different from him. Whenever, therefore, offenseless hearing and glorification of God are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is as powerful as the Lord personally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sikshastrika declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potencies of the Lord, and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There is no reserved fixture of time, and anyone can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at his convenience. The Lord is so kind to us that he can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound. But unfortunately, we have no taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord's name and activities. We have already discussed developing a taste for hearing and chanting the holy sound. It is done through the medium of service to the pure devotee of the Lord. The Lord is reciprocally respondent to his devotees when he sees that a devotee is completely sincere in getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord and has thus become eager to hear about him. The Lord acts from within the devotee in such a way that the devotee may easily go back to him. The Lord is more anxious to take us back into his kingdom than we can desire. Most of us do not desire at all to go back to Godhead. Only a very few men want to go back to Godhead. But anyone who desires to go back to Godhead, Sri Krishna helps in all respects. One can enter into the kingdom of God unless one is perfectly cleared of all sins. The material sins are products of our desires to lord it over material nature. It is very difficult to get rid of such desires. Women and wealth are very difficult problems for the devotee, making progress on the path back to Godhead. Many stalwarts in the devotional line fell victim to these allurements and thus retreated from the path of liberation. But when one is helped by the Lord Himself, the whole process becomes as easy as anything by the divine grace of the Lord. To become restless in the contact of women and wealth is not an astonishment because every living being is associated with such things from remote time, practically immemorial, and it takes time to recover from this foreign nature. But if one is engaged in hearing and glories of the Lord, gradually he realizes his real position. By the grace of God, such a devotee gets sufficient strength to defend himself from the state of disturbances, and gradually all disturbing elements are eliminated from his mind.
जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा श्री गुरु चरणा पद्मा केवल भक्ति सद्मा बंधो मोहि सावधान माते बंधो मोहि सावधान माते जहर प्रसादे बाय ए भव तोरिया जाय तोरिया जाय कृष्ण प्राप्ति होय जहा होय ते कृष्ण प्राप्ति होय दहा होय ते होय ते गुरुमुख पद्मा वाक्या चितते कोरिया क्या गुरुमुख Padmavakya Chitate Koriya Aikya Arana Kori Ho Mane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati ऐसे उत्तम गति श्री गुरु चराने रति ऐसे उत्तम गति ये प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा ये प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु शे चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु शे दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो प्रेम भक्ति जाय होते अविद्या विनाश जाते प्रेम भक्ति जाय होते अविद्या विनाश जाते वेदे गाय जहर चरितो वेदे गाय जहर चरितो गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवाना लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवाना आह प्रभु कोरो दया देहो मोरे पादचया आह प्रभु कोरो दया देहो मोरे पादचया आह प्रभु कोरो दया देहो मोरे पादचया देहो मोरे पादचया एबे जाश कुशुक त्रिभुवाना श्रील प्रभुपाद पतित पवाना जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्देशतारिणे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 राम राम हरे जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद् देवेंद्र ग्रेस ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। इसका फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य
The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of mercy, ocean of material suffering, and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Now, my only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is a perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Lokanath Goswami, O Master, be merciful unto me. Give me the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds.